Michael?
Yo.
This is Mike Young from Westtown Bikes. How you doing today?
Hey, man. Pretty good.
You back in Chicago?
Yeah. That's where I live.
Right. I don't know. I thought maybe you'd stay in New York.
Oh, I wish. I have family out there. It's always a busy trip when I get out that way.
So how was it? How was the Bike Youth Summit?
Man, it was great. I was really impressed. I have some, I have trouble in like large social situations sometimes, and I feel overwhelmed. But the mood there, and the people, and the ideas, and the age range, was just welcoming and awesome. Recycle a Bicycle, a lot of work by Pascalina and Helen Ho.
Yeah.
They put on an awesome time.
So
really got the right people together and really fostered people to, not only just talk about stuff, but make plans.
So what came out of the Bike Summit? Well, first of all, can you just describe what it's like as a person? You've been there once before or no?
That was the first time I've been to the Youth Bike Summit. This is its second year. Westtown Bikes has gone both years. An overview of this year's summit was, it was at the New School in Manhattan. And I think about, on the first day, Friday registration, I probably saw about 50 people. And then the second day when I showed up, I think there was about 200 of us. And throughout the day, there were sessions on everything from Girls on Bikes, which is, Westtown Bikes brought their Girls Bike Club. Liz Clarkson raised enough money to bring 4 young women that are in Girls Bike Club out to New York. They did a presentation on, why they cycle, what they see as the future of cycling for themselves, and what they'd like to see more. So there were presentations like that, and everything from something I really enjoyed was Bikeworks in Seattle put on a session about strategic planning, and that's something that I'm very interested in right now and working on for Westtown Bikes. So it was great content and just really good people. I guess I'm always surprised that there's literally hundreds of us across the country, pushing in the same direction of intelligent transportation and the social awareness, and it's just...
Mm-hmm. I would say probably that even reaches into the thousands.
Yeah, that was kind of a joke. There were hundreds of them at this one event.
Right.
And it's just really refreshing to meet a bunch of people in communities similar or complete opposites from where I'm from, fighting for the same thing. It gives you inspiration to go home and work even harder because we know we're going to push hard enough and long enough where we're going to have an awesome impact.
Mm-hmm. So what were some of the things that you guys decided upon? When you talk about strategies, what did those include?
Well, in the specifically in the strategic planning session that I went to, it was very, very useful for me and the role I play at Westtown Bikes to kind of get an idea of how to plan goals, what to expect, and really how to just, I guess it's like insurance that you're moving forward. We could just turn into a bike shop and help people get on bikes, and that would be great, and that would benefit the community. But if we have a plan, we can be multifaceted and move forward with youth education, adults training, teach everything from teaching people how to ride bikes to like Girls Bike Club.
So at Westtown Bikes, though, I'm sure you have people, you have some really good, well-organized people over there at Westtown Bikes. Was this something that was, you've been planning already, right?
You mean a strategic plan? We've been planning that already?
I don't know. You guys are already moving on so many fronts.
Yeah, Westtown Bikes is Westtown Bikes is real special. It doesn't have a lot of people at it. I think there's about six of us right now, but every single person is really strong and is driving their own initiative. Liz Clarkson is crushing it with Girls Bike Club and the volunteering she's doing and the volunteers she's bringing in. I'm pretty good with our cyclocross program and adult education. You know, Alex Wilson, our director, is really pushing forward on, you know, just improving the organization at a higher level, improving funding. We have Levster, who runs Bike Club, you know, and he's got everything from youth going to the parks, you know, rock and urban freestyle, to fabrication, and you know, he builds everything from bike hitches to trailers and you name it. So yeah, there's a lot of people at Westtown moving forward. It's just so awesome to go somewhere and be linked with people that may be doing something similar to you. And you know, what I humbly found out is that there's people doing a similar thing to me and doing it a lot better. I was really humbled by some of the things that you would think were such just simple things to do, but that, you know, I wasn't covering.
Well, that's what it's all about, and maybe you had something to show somebody else too.
I hope so. I talk a lot, so I was really trying to listen. I was really focusing on listening the whole time. I talk plenty, and I just took an opportunity to absorb.
Well, so you're Chicago. You're the Chicago. Was there anybody else from Chicago at the Recycle Bike Youth Bike Summit?
As far as organizations, no. There were, you know, we have a lot of friends that reach out. There were people from Chicago, but I believe they were the Westtown Bikes was the only nonprofit. I mean, I hope I'm not forgetting someone. Bike presence there, and that was kind of how it was going. I was noticing, you know, Seattle has Bike Works, and they seem really strong out there. There was a gentleman from Toronto, representing two organizations, and we had one person from Utah, and then of course a lot of people from the New York, New Hampshire, Virginia, Connecticut area.
L.A. You got anybody from L.A.?
Yeah, I was a. Oh God, I'm drawing blanks. But there was a California presence.
I think Allison might have gone down there from LACBC. I don't know if you met her, but then who else? Oh, well, I'm not sure either. So,
yeah,
but it was
I can't recall.
It was like a congress of bikes, of people working with programs.
And it was done real efficiently, real accessible, real efficient.
So it was well organized?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and real good mix of kind of instructor-led or presentation-type sessions to, on Sunday, it was just completely open. And really, Sunday took off. Sunday was amazing, and people didn't want to leave, of course. You're moving forward, and you come back, and right away, you know, through whatever social networking, your email, or right in front of your face in the shop, you see people already implementing ideas that they just picked up 2 days ago.
Well, can you give us some of the ideas so we can spread it around some more?
Yeah, you know, Westtown Bikes brought Girls Bike Club, and I was mentioning Liz Clarkson. She not only fundraised, but got everybody organized, from adult leaders to the real active young women in her group. And what they brought, not only is these, you know, not only awesome pink T-shirts and sweatshirts, but they brought a really inspirational message that young women just need to get together, you know, to organize, which I don't know, it's built in. Women seem to be very good organizers, where, you know, men might struggle with it a little bit. Maybe it's the sharing thing. But young women need to just get together, organize, and do one thing. For instance, Girls Bike Club took a ride to Zoo Lights, and they're doing a fashion show. So they do one thing, do it well, do it right, and let people know about your enthusiasm.
They
I
did
talked to.
I'm sorry. They did a fashion show where, in Chicago?
Yeah, they're going to be doing a fashion show. They did kind of a pilot of a fashion show at a fundraising event we had a couple months ago, and now they're putting on a much bigger event. They'll be bringing in DJ. More than there's 3 people walking down, really presenting ideas from cycling utility to fashion on and off the bike. It's an eye-catching thing. If you go to Facebook, just type in Westtown Bikes, and you'll see a lot of pictures of the Girls Bike Club tag from the event, doing what they do. And I was going to say everything from Girls Bike Club too. I learned a lot from the folks from Seattle. One of the things I do at Westtown Bikes is run our open shop, and I was working on ways to make it more comfortable for a broader scope of people. And there's just a ton of things I hadn't even thought of. Davey shared something with me where they just stop. Everybody in the shop just stops what they're doing, and you share something. It sounds so simple, but it really ties everybody together. Like, for example, everybody's tinkering away. Everybody stops for a second. Give me your favorite superhero. You go around.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were asking me.
Go ahead.
You're asking me?
No, I'm saying that, little teeny ideas like that help me grow what I do at Westtown. But, yeah, I am asking you, who's your favorite superhero?
It's really weird. 2 superheroes came into my mind that I did not know would have been there, and it was The Thing and Iron Man.
The Thing and Iron Man.
It's very strange.
What about when you were really young?
Oh, well, it would have been one of the X-Men. I'm not sure which. I really liked, Storm, Wolverine, the X-Men, Colossus. What, am I not getting the right answers?
No, it's an opinion answer.
What was your favorite?
That's a tough thing for me because I was kind of a Legos G.I. Joe guy, but the first one that pops in my head is Spider-Man because I thought he was really cool because he lived in the city.
Right.
And he was just, he was just hanging out, helping people.
He was. Totally. So that's who you relate to, yeah. But you stop what you're doing in the shop and you say, hey, everybody, what's your favorite superhero?
Yeah, it's just an example of things I was learning that seem so simple, but really help the experiences people have when they come into something like Open Shop. It really helps kind of create and tie community together. When people, knowing people's names. these are not, none of this stuff is too groundbreaking. It just needs to be practiced and implemented.
I'm thinking, that would probably work in schools too. Like a lot of the stuff you're doing with education, could be brought into schools.
Yeah, we think every school should have a bike club. How are you going to teach people how to drive a car, but you're not going to help them work on their bike?
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Okay, so
not in urban environments.
Yeah. I mean, I think we talked to somebody when we talked to you that other day about at Jefferson High School here in L.A. that has a bike club, and they don't have enough parts, and they only have a few people in the club, so it's not a really thriving scene over here as far as bike clubs.
Is there someone over there? I remember the interview. I don't remember the people running it that well. I think you talked to one of the shop people or something. Is there someone over there that's a strong character that wants to see it succeed?
I'm sure there are. I just haven't really identified them. But there's so many, there's so many bike nonprofits here that I haven't asked that question, but maybe we will.
Yeah, I bet with a little bit of push and a little bit of help, whether it be some fundraising or a donation drive to get them some parts, I bet we can get them moving.
Yeah,
you just got to get a couple people doing it. And it's bicycles, man. It's bicycles. We've been riding bicycles forever, and we're going to continue riding bicycles. They're awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much the first technology.
Yeah,
when it comes to transportation.
Yeah, cars. We haven't gotten cars right yet, but we've gotten bicycles right.
All right. Well, so you're in touch with all these new people on Facebook, and how are you keeping in touch? Facebook?
You know what? I'm not much of a Facebooker. I'm very much an emailer. You know, things like this happen. I met a gentleman named Keith who was working in the Chicago Bicycle Federation kind of before I became really active in Chicago's cycling scene. Before I was working at some law firm, pressing buttons on a computer and stuff. It was pretty miserable. And I didn't know it, but he knew people I knew, and I knew people he knew. And I started a cyclocross program, and it just turns out that he has a community. He has a group of youth, very athletic, very exuberant, and he wants to implement that kind of program in his area. So right there, standing in the hall, chatting over, maybe about 10 minutes. This summer we're going to be racing each other. We're going to get a couple youth from Milwaukee, get them training, get them bikes, and they're going to race the group that I put together in Chicago.
Okay, so that's awesome. I know that there is a group here that does mountain bikes.
Yeah. And actually, California has a pretty active high school cycling association.
Yeah,
there's actual teams and stuff, which is awesome.
I haven't really started looking into it, but a lot of these people are so busy doing their own thing that they don't want to start a new project with a bike club and supporting a bike club and stuff. I mean, it seems like if they wanted to do it, they'd already be doing it since they're already in high schools.
Well, it's about what's accessible. I think soccer is one of the most popular sports in the world, and I think largely in part to the fact that all you need is a ball. Cycling as a sport is a little inaccessible sometimes because you need a bike, and that's a machine. Right. If you make the bikes accessible, it's going to happen. It's not so much a field of dreams where if you build it, they'll come, but it's kind of like that. If these youth had something like, hey, by the way, this machine right here, not only can it get you to your girlfriend's house and get you to class on time when you miss the bus, and don't have, $4 or $5, $6 in gas to drive, a mile. Yeah. This also, you can race it. So right. I think it's about making it accessible.
So what? Tell me about cyclocross for those of us who need some more.
Yeah, in short, cyclocross is a hybrid between mountain biking and road cycling. I fell in love with it a couple years ago. Started getting real active right away with it. It bit me. I was always kind of a urban and BMX rider. The cyclocross racing that goes on is usually done in small circuits, but when I say small, I mean like the circuit can still be up to 2 miles long, within a park or within some sort of nature district. Chicago has a lot of the races just in the parks that are scattered all throughout the city. They're timed races. It's usually muddy, and a lot of people think that the more miserable it is, the better a race it is. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder than just hopping on a bike and riding down the street. And I think the difficulty of it, kind of brings out the warrior in people.
And so, how does that tie into adult education, bike education?
Cyclocross?
Yeah, because you do both, right? That's your.
Yeah, well, at Westtown, I kind of spread myself all over the place and just cover whatever needs to be done. And I don't see any direct tie between cyclocross and adult education, other than the fact that a lot of the adults I'm working with, and doing advanced mechanical training with them, they're building cyclocross bikes. Right. Cyclocross bikes it's like it's a fast bike. It's a road bike, but it's got bigger tires, so it's more comfortable. It can be ridden on different, varied terrain. It can, trails or the street. And there's room for fenders. So it turns out to be a pretty awesome all-around bike, period.
So what's the difference between, the cyclocross bike and, a city bike?
Well, a cyclocross bike is going to be usually drop bars and more aggressive rider position. Mm. So when most people think of road bikes, that's the rider position. Mm. City bikes, they're a lot of times going to have a flatter bar, more upright riding position, probably not as aggressive as geometry, and bigger tires, heavier bike. You can't race cyclocross with a rack mounted to your bike.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
But you can pick up the groceries that way.
Well, I got to start doing cyclocross. That's obvious. All right, what else? So you're back from Recycle Bicycles Youth Bike Summit, which was January 13th to 15th. This is Michael Young from Westtown Bikes. I just have to remind people. And, what should people know, who are coming from all different directions to hear this? What should they know about your work and what's going to happen and what to look for in their neighborhood?
Well, we're in the Humboldt Park community of Chicago, kind of a near northwest neighborhood from the core downtown area. Our mission is really we're getting people on bikes, and we're educating everything from educating adults to make them more competent, enthusiastic riders. A bike that's awesome, fun, light, works great, that makes a cyclist. We're doing everything from those adult things to lots of youth programs. Lester Pavone runs Bike Club. That's going 4 days a week. It's an open door kind of thing. The youth from the local area, and actually some people are coming away up from the south side and stuff. Just come in, professional atmosphere, get a little bit of job training, and, have a lot of fun. Lester's a real fun dude. He's wicked.
Yeah, I met him. He was cool.
Yeah, he's wicked on the bike, too. Takes a dude about 4 or 5 tries to learn some sick tricks.
Huh.
Yeah. And then we have women's night on Wednesday, women and trans night on Wednesdays. We're running a lot of after-school programs in Chicago public schools, private and public, actually. We're just getting people on bikes. Bicycles are just an awesome engine, an awesome delivery tool when you're trying to increase social, physical, environmental, ecological wellness in an area. What better way to do it? Seriously.
That's right.
You can't do it with bagels, and you can't do it with an SUV.
Did you say you can't do it with bagels?
I don't think you can do it with bagels. I'm not sure. Bagel bike shop, can we just mix the two?
I have somebody here who wants to argue with you about that, but I don't know if we should get into that. Well, all right. You got a question? We got a question here from a colleague here.
Okay. You were talking earlier. Hi, Chicken Leather here. You were talking earlier
what's up, Chicken Liver?
It's okay. You were talking earlier about getting people on bikes. It's one thing to get them on bikes. It's another thing to say, yeah, let's go out and do some dirt roads for this cyclocross to get totally filthy, and it brings back these pictures, these black and white pictures of them showering at the in the Roubaix or something. It's not cobblestone, but it's somewhere between the two because you're going uphill. We out here in L.A. have this silly race, and you're going to see the tie-in a minute. Everybody's trying to find an advantage for going on mountain trails with a coaster brake in the back. And I'm looking at them going, okay, first of all, you have to have luck on your side because half the time it'll jump the chain or something, or you're trying to hold tension with the back brake or things. And they're all looking at me like, oh, this is cyclocross. And I said, no, you've got brakes in cyclocross. There's an advantage. And they go, no, it's still racing. So can you tell people out there that have never raced in the dirt or anything, or how much enjoyment you get just after finishing the thing sometimes? I mean,
oh, man, it's wicked. It's wicked. I had some knee problems this year. I was just entering races just to get beat, just to have people pass me and scream at me how much I suck. If you don't get yanked out of the race, you're the champion. We're racing in Chicago. Our last race was just a couple weeks ago. The national and world championships are specifically put in the most miserable times of the year because it is supposed to suck. So you get out there and you finish a lap or two, and you earned whatever you're pouring down your throat.
Absolutely. I'm sponsored. It's the double whammy by Flying Pigeon. I don't know if you know about that bike here.
The Flying Pigeon, I've heard of it.
Yeah, those are like those Chinese bikes that there's a million of them out there, and I wonder, how they did that. First of all, the worst constructed steel for tensile strength ever, and you made a bike out of this. So, you're talking about all these high-end carbon fiber bikes in cyclocross.
Oh, I didn't mention carbon fiber. We race on steel, man. Steel is real. But the Flying Pigeon, you're rolling around there with a cruiser. You're upright. You're having your coffee and stuff, dude.
Yeah. It reminds me of how the Tour de France must have been at the early part of the last century, 2 centuries ago, where they used to go up hills and go, hey, you're talking to your friends going, hey, should we go up this hill together? And they're all kind of going, I don't know, let's change the gear ratio. And it's that kind of conversation. It's like go 200 years later, and it's like you're looking at people going, why the hell am I out here on this thing? I mean, you ever get to that point where it's like some sort of lost weekend that you took Hunter S. Thompson's drugs instead of your own, and now you're out here or something?
Hell yeah, man. I think that's part of it. If your listeners want to go to a site go to like cyclingdirt.org and just watch a little bit of the video, or search like UCI cyclocross and watch a little bit of the videos. These guys are pros. They're getting paid a lot of money, and if you look at their face, I think they're saying the same thing. They're like, why am I doing this? This is stupid.
Absolutely. I would even argue too that it's not all about the money. I've seen some of the best stuff, and the Canadians got a bus, and they're going that Dew tour where they're just going around the States and up in Canada and stuff. I caught a little bit of it. They're using it as filler on cable between trying to sell you hair products and telling you your whatever. But it's kind of funny to see guys just out there like, yeah, we're sponsored. We're just getting in a bus and going around town doing tricks in these towns. And you come to your thing going, wow, that's easy.
Oh, man.
Then you forget all these guys have been on the X Tour and all these other tours. This is their 9-to-5 job, It's like, this ain't my job, man.
Yeah, I think I saw some of what you're talking about. A couple bros in a bus, man. I got a kid, though, dude. I can't do that crap anymore.
See, that's the thing. It's like there's a certain amount of responsibility, and then there's a certain amount of like, oh, yeah, basically we're paying you for your body for 3 weeks to go out and do this crap. So anyway, here's Nick again.
Thanks, brother.
So, hey, Mike, thanks for calling in. That was really awesome.
Absolutely, man.
And let's keep in touch with anything that happens.
Yeah, if something explodes, I'll try to get a camera photo of it and get it over to you.
Or audio would be great.
All right, man.
All right. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
I'd give it to you if I could, but I borrowed it. You're the kind of girl that fits in with my world. I'll give you anything, everything, if you want things. I've got a cloak, it's a bit of a joke. There's a tear up the front, it's red and black, I've had it for months. If you think it could look good, then I guess it should. You're the kind of girl that fits in with my world. I'll give you anything.
about
Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. With just one kiss, you could change the world. It might not be much better, but it certainly couldn't hurt. When you stomp your feet, you want it hurting me, but you always give it something just by living on the earth. Who you're supposed to listen to when you're looking for something to do, and all of us shut you up, 'cause someone put a break in your coffee cup when you're trying to decide whether to walk or to ride. Take the easy way, you know that you want to. So an educated girl, give her hair a twirl, you contemplate the meaning of a man with just one arm. She's not a genius or a dunce, but it makes no difference. For at any moment, we might find ourselves a charm. Yet I'm feeling quite confused by the people who refuse to see the simple way of life don't make you the loser. Say they won't make it far if we don't drive there in the car. We'll be there without despair. Find our own way You might find the meaning of life in the barrel of a rifle, if it's pointed at a bird or if it's pointed at your head. Me, I ran a planted tree that grows up tall for all to see, until I need a pencil and I'll chop it to the ground. At night falling down, will it make a sound? Would I even wonder what you say? But it's so hard to change yourself, easier to tell someone else everything is gonna be okay.
about how people race in the rain and what advantages they get.
Hello.
We could listen to about 2 minutes of the
Right.
thing.
So what? Tell me.
Hi, it is Chicken Leather.
So chicken leather.
Hey,
Hey, so how do people ride safely in the rain? Because it's raining.
yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm going to relate it, and you're going to go, "What the hell are you talking about, Chicken Leather?"
Okay. But it'll come back around.
No, but it will come back around. I first got out on a bicycle, and everybody always goes, "Are there any kind of distinct advantages to getting out in the rain and controlling your route?" on a bicycle than there is in a car, and I have to say yes. There's a few. One of them is
You're saying advantages.
advantages.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody always looks at it like mechanically. If you break down in the rain in a car, you're sitting in the car. I guess you have your little square box, and the elements can come, but you have to kind of pack everything. Whereas on a bicycle, I've never really had a mechanical in the rain. Knock on wood. But one of the advantages is you can kind of you're going to get wet, but you're already prepared for the elements, more or less. I mean, to be honest, I can ride through destroyed roads. And one of the things goes, but it's raining. No, it's just water, guys. We've been sort of brainwashed here in Los Angeles because we see so little of this that we have to have a storm warning. We have to get out there and prepare for like monsoonal floods or something. I heard people from Chicago, bringing it back around, saying, this isn't rain here. And there was a guy from Jersey going, no, this ain't rain at all. It was just kind of lightly sprinkling last night at the after party. You pay extra for that at a rave.
Because people don't know what you're talking about. The after party is a whole new subject. I was going to save it, but
okay. Well, save it. But we're talking about enjoying the elements. A lot of people would pay extra to have a light sprinkle and relieving the onslaught of fatigue as you ride across. But there's people like especially in Denmark and Sweden and stuff, where they do ride bikes over there, and they have an infrastructure for bikes as they travel.
All right, but
they sort of bundle up
Since you let
and stay all let's just say dry.
Let's talk about last night.
Okay. Last night was the film screening that we talked about with Rick and Richie. Rick and Richie, or we call them the two Ricks. I never know about that, but very, very well received. They said they had more people in the audience at that screening. They had a screening of bike films, about an hour's worth.
At the Vista.
And what was really funny, there was some guy smoking a cigarette with bike-related films and bike films by bike people. And he goes, well, which is it? And I said, you're kind of splitting hairs there. I know that there's people out there that are avid cyclists making movies that have nothing to do with bicycles, but this is kind of an embracing of the culture and stuff, and getting people on bikes and things. And everything as diverse as being able to appreciate your city and racing the night before the marathon, because the streets have been closed off, and you now have an access to actually take your bike out there and not.
So you're
not
talking
be hit.
about that one movie?
Yeah, that's the crash race that the Midnight Riders crash race, which we've now seen a couple times at different festivals and stuff.
Where they ride the route of the LA Marathon at 3 a.m. the night before.
That's right.
That was beautifully filmed.
I think that was something that actually is it harkens to the fact that there's some cinema that's being made out there. In this case, you got a full camera crew and went out and raced this thing. So event kind of specific, almost like the heritage of what we're seeing from all these Olympics and stuff, all these basically high-end cameras that track everything and stuff. And this is just going back to black and white photography, almost like back to early days of why an Airflex was created for the 36 Olympics. It was like you had to break loose from all that, tripods and stuff. And there's some slow motion and stuff. And in fact, I even sort of addressed it comically. I said, you paid a lot of money and it's a race and everything, but you're slowing down all these people, getting all these sweaty stills where you see it. I said, it's almost like, didn't they have that $6 million man, like, 20, 30 years ago? And he always was like, they spent all that money, and yet he just sort of crawls across the screen there. Yeah. It's just slow motion.
So, how many people would you say were at this event last night?
Oh, well, that was the other thing. I only alluded to it, but the management was really happy. They get to sell their popcorn and everything else, but apparently they set a record last night. They had more people in there than they did for. And this is the big thing: 3D Beauty and the Beast. So we're treading on Disney ground now.
Wow.
Yeah, Disney's being hard hit this week. First with the the shipwreck,
And now us.
and now the cruise line going down, and now bicycle films late at night at midnight.
So I didn't hear about the cruise, but I don't need to. And so unless I don't want to be cynical about, were people drowned at the cruise?
Yeah,
one time?
actually, you didn't hear about that. This Italian cruise ship went adrift, and it hit some rocks trying to go through space, and they tried to get everybody off the ship. And first of all, according to the captain, he slipped. This sounds like an excuse a kid might use. Yeah, my homework got destroyed. It's like, yeah, I couldn't do my job because I fell off the boat into a dinghy, and the dinghy I couldn't turn around because it was dark.
All right, I can tie this back to bikes. You ready for this?
I want to hear this.
I saw a list of the most to least efficient forms of transportation on Earth. Well, the first least efficient was the space shuttle, but then was a cruise ship.
How do they figure that out? I mean, you get into space. Is it the idea that you have more parts that'll go bad? Is that how it works?
I think it's weight per fuel, like per distance.
So how many miles per gallon or kerosene or whatever it is that they fuel it with does the shuttle get?
You know, I don't remember, but
I bet you it's less than a half a gallon.
It's probably not much. Well, I heard it was $10,000 to get a pound into space.
Oh, so money-wise? I mean, if we're doing it money-wise, your bike is so much more efficient. I mean, I used to joke about my friend having he had a tricked-out Hummer,
Yeah.
$60,000, $70,000. And I remember there was a point in those, when it first came out, it's like, yeah, you don't have to get it smogged the same way. You don't have to get it registered, and you could pay for it with every. Can you imagine me having a Hummer now? That would be like the last thing.
You
I
were
wanna
thinking
drive
about it?
Well, no, they made it like you work in this industry where you should be driving something like this. And I said, you know what? I like the Honda I've got. Or at the time I had a Volkswagen. I said, this is like the early Hummer before they had Hummers. I said, it's basically a box with an engine in the back. And I said, that's all you need.
So I want to continue with the list.
What I was trying to get to is the fact that the Hummer, when you get to a stoplight, and this is something that Mr. Bledsoe from the Bike Kitchen always used to tell me. He says, you get to a Hummer and you're stopped at the thing. It doesn't matter. You know, they always go, he always used to say, how many miles to the gallon do you guys get? Or no, he'd say, hey, man, how fast does it go? And they go, oh, I do 60, whatever. And he goes, no, man, you're doing 2 miles an hour like me. We're stopped at a light. He said, you're going to stop at the next light, too. You watch. And the guy tried to race ahead and get ahead of him, and sure enough, the light caught him. And so it's a question of safety. If I race and try to get to that light, and for some reason I miss it and am going through a red, it's just a bicycle. It doesn't weigh that much. If it hits you, it's not going to be a horrible accident. You might live. Whereas if somebody hits you in a Hummer, I guarantee there's going to be a little more damage with that much inertia traveling through space. But anyway, let's get back to how you tie the space shuttle around.
But another thing Jim Bledsoe said was something about, how you fuel the fuel per distance on a bike is, he says you can ride like 1,000 miles on a bowl of Cheerios or something. I forget what it was.
Yeah, we're into like the Netherlands of bike culture when we start quoting Mr. Bledsoe this early in the morning. You can tell it's going to be one of those things. First from the Coaster Bike Challenge being a serious race. I don't know. I think of it as serious. Anything that gets out there and gets you dirty.
We haven't.
We're
going to bring up the Coaster Bike Challenge.
Space shuttle is efficient.
I'm trying to keep all subjects separate. We haven't even brought up the coaster. Is that coming up again? We're talking about that?
Well, no, we touched on it when I talked to him.
Okay, the list goes from space shuttle, but then cruise ship is the second least efficient form of transportation, and then it goes down through. I guess it would be like plane, Hummer, then and other SUVs, and then cars, and then walking, and then biking.
So walking before biking
is
more efficient? Huh. Well, I think it's because
no, I mean
I've heard tale that walking actually
biking is more efficient than walking.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Now that I believe.
Yeah.
The way you had it, I was trying to remember. I think somebody said that a human, just the human being is a machine is somewhere between the efficiency of a engine or kerosene engine, and I would think that's somewhere in there. And this is unpropelled human kind of motion. And then the idea of a bicycle saving you, I heard tale a third of the time, or 2/3 of the time. So anytime if it takes you time, you notice we're equating time with efficiency. The idea that you were earlier with the space shuttle equating cost with efficiency. Until we figure out a way to get into space, and I think that's the other reason they're looking at efficiency with flight and stuff. And in fact, there was a rollout a couple weeks ago of a more efficient plane that uses less fuel and stuff. So we're seeing that equation move into it. But I have to argue that instead of looking to this new kind of thing, I mean, it'd be great, and I can't wait until carbon fiber gets to be a little more efficient and lasts longer than a shelf life of 5 years. So whereas you could go down to your local bike co-op and say, yeah, I think I'll put a carbon fiber fork on this and everything, and incredibly, we'll be complaining, I bet, even then about like, gee, I have to push 7.5 pounds through space. Boy, am I going to be tired going home tonight. I mean, you could twist that around and say, isn't it more reliable to have a stronger bike with fenders and not get wet, and enjoy the quality of your ride home? I think that's what a lot of people are missing, the fact that I'm enjoying that enjoyment factor. The what is it in Bhutan? The happiness factor. I think I'm happier on my bike, enjoying the elements than I am in other things. Now, I'll be the first one to say, if I'm in a torrential downpour coming down one of these canyons in mud, I probably would like being in a vehicle than I would on my bicycle. But I would argue this would get me there, too.
Okay, so it's a rainy day in LA, and that's what sparked this whole
No, it's not
tangent.
even raining now. It's just that the ground's wet, but we're seeing nobody out there. And of course, I'm going to make that attempt. I rode my bike. I enjoyed it. It's like there's no cloudburst or anything. It could happen. Kind of playing those cars close to the chest. I'm hoping it doesn't open up and
kind of sick, and I'm trying to preserve my health because of my job, and so I didn't ride today. And I'm wondering, I feel like a kind of a hypocrite?
No, not at all. See, everybody always thinks, and I have to be honest, when people come to me and they start telling me things like, hey, I didn't ride my bike. It's like
it's like a confession.
Yeah, it's like, well, say, lube your chain a couple times and check your headset. And
that's funny.
And I'll give you absolution.
Because the chain is kind of like, the rosary.
Okay, we're not going to make any kind of religious kind of
Why not? I think that was good.
To the bicycle. Even though Reverend Phil was in town last week with Bike Smut.
Yeah, how'd Bike Smut go? I don't
think
think we covered Bike Smut. Here.
There were a lot of people, and in fact, it's so funny because Reverend Phil was seen or cited at this film last time, so he knew about the thing. And in fact, it's funny because we always talk about people in Portland being like, oh yeah, they ride and everything, including snow and stuff. And Steve Atano used to tell me things about like where you'd see one guy out there coming back, and then you wouldn't see anybody, and then lo and behold, there'd be like snow and everything, and there'd be one other guy coming at you, and you'd be like cheering and sort of motivating him, because it's like, yeah, I'm not the only guy out here in this. But we have, and I have to be honest, we have very little change of season here in Los Angeles. I mean, we're going to get rain, and probably some of it is going to be heavy, but it's not on a par with the rest of the nation, I would say.
Right.
Even though we do get, people would argue that we have seasons of, what is it? Earthquake, extreme heat. What is it? Mudslide, and then what was the other one that they always talk about? Well, we'll think of it. I'm pulling a Rick Perry moment right here. Political folly. Yeah, that should be a season.
Would you like to start the calendar now? Because we have like 40,000 events on our.
Well, I have one thing to say about last week's calendar. We scoped all of Facebook and everything, but I'm going to go to Midnight Riders. Midnight Riders had a big after. Like, they were talking about the future of where the bike scene is going. They were talking about the future. Where do you want to see Midnight Riders? And they were really serious about it. And they met at, I think, 4 o'clock over at Pan Pacific Park last Saturday and discussed all these things. We didn't get out there because we didn't see it posted in this thing, but I have to be honest. I know all these people, so we're going to try and report on that in the next weeks to come about what was said at these things. that being said, we've just gone to the site and we're seeing how all the people came out and they started talking about some of the issues, including maybe getting points of that cyclist Bill of Rights passed. And in fact, this week on one of the other news outlets, I heard that they're finally putting in some bike lanes. And in fact, some of the big bike lanes that I've seen out there are really pretty incredible. It's a strange kind of thing to see streets paved and marked for bikes in downtown Los Angeles. Where it
Okay,
used
so
to
we
be
were going to talk
destroyed.
about calendars.
But
let's
they're
tie this
doing
back to the calendar.
They're doing this on the west side in Rosendal's district, and there was some reports. He goes, "Yeah, there's going to be some delays as they finish paving." So they're already complaining about paving, not even the lanes yet. I'm wondering what's going to happen when the lanes start to support bike culture out there, and it reduces people's transit ride, because if you get more people on bikes, that's one less person that you have in a car that's moving in front of you. Now he's on a bike enjoying his ride, going slower and probably safer. So anyway, we've gotten through that.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to compartmentalize
Compartmentalize.
our discussion so
that's
that
the
so
one
that it's like
calendar. What I'm trying to say is,
Okay.
if you get to the west side and you're traveling down Lincoln, and I think the other street they were going to stripe was Pico, expect delays, a few delays. So that's your
But they're putting
calendar.
a bike lane in, is what you're saying?
They're putting in a bike lane
On
Lincoln. I mean, we'll pull up the site and look at that in a minute.
Okay, so
the,
if I'm
the
on-
other thing is,
Yeah.
there's, as mentioned, the bike film coming up again. The two Ricks, or is it the two Dicks? The two Dicks have got their.
Okay, there's Rick Darge is the
and
one
then
of the
there's
film
Richie,
director.
Richie, isn't that a Rick?
Oh, and Richie
Richie is a
Tomasin.
Rick. Yeah, and you got to speak to them just for a little bit. They basically
Okay,
fill
so
out
we're-
an hour of programming, along with their the guest star of.
So we're back to the movies at the Vista. The bike
the
movies
movies
at the Vista.
only because that's on the calendar tonight, and I would get there early because it was packed last night.
Okay.
Packed. There were a few
So we're
scroungy kind of. These would be in the concert venue called obstructed seating, where you have to sit in the sides. And there's good sidelines though in every seat at the Vista, because it was built back in the teens when cinema was an art form. So you're not going to get a crappy seat there. And they've redone the theater. It was beautiful last
so
night to
bike
see it.
movies at the Vista. By the time you hear this on KPFK, it will be over. What will people? Are they touring anywhere or?
I think they're going to have another one on the east side, where we're trying to get them out there, maybe for during the summer or coming in the summer. And stay tuned to Bike Talk. Perhaps having an outdoor screening of some bike films, a bike-in movie like the Cycle Girls used to do.
Really? Cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was such a cool event that it should happen more often. It was like, what do you think about the cross section of the bike scene that was there?
I thought it was phenomenal. Everything from the sort of avid cyclists to people that just got sort of dragged along smoking cigarettes, and then you got to remind them it's like, hey, if you quit smoking, you get 8 years. And if you cycle, you get 5 right off the bat.
I have a book on all the things that add and subtract. Hey, so then there's the BFF.
The BFF is actually going on with, and you're going to see how I rip this around.
Okay.
Jim Cadenhead, who was a host here on Bike Talk a few years ago, he's moved on to. He's not dead. He's just moved on
He's
to
just in
Santa Barbara.
Santa
even though
Barbara.
Sometimes we think of people in Santa Barbara, especially like the Oprahs and everything, being dead up there in Montecito County. He's actually up there in, I think, Isla Vista or something.
So the Bicycle Film Festival.
Bicycle Film Festival moving into Santa Barbara for a whole
January
weekend, and I think
19 through 21.
yeah, I'm wondering if he's going to have some BMX like
that's
he did last
this
time.
weekend.
Yeah, if he's going to have some BMX things, but the BFF moves all over the universe now, and that was the argument. A lot of people were saying, we like this. This is almost like a grassroots bike film festival that you're having here, and a lot of people appreciated it. Some people couldn't get out to see a couple of films that played at the bike film festival, and let's be honest, there's a certain amount of monetary issues, not associated just with the films, but you got an hour of it's on the par with stand time. I think it was $5 to go see this all these films last night. An hour of bike films for $5. And the other one we can talk about just to touch on it. We joked about DDK, and this is not some sort of like alphabet kind of rap group or something. That's an actual star. I think her name is Dolores K, or maybe the K stands for something. She was starring in Bike Love, where her bike gets without.
You can see it on Midnight Riders.
Yeah, without.
It's actually on the website.
Into too much kind of.
Did you know that it's on the website?
I know. There's some suspense. You can go to the website, but it's all about what happens when your bike loves you after it's been stolen. And I'd like to believe that sometimes you can do everything and it'll still get stolen.
So then there's also Bike Smut. It's coming up in where is it? It was, if you missed it in LA, you can go over to San Francisco and it'll be there January 28th.
Up San Francisco.
Oh, is it up to San Francisco?
Yeah, I think we're down and they're up.
Now, how did that happen?
We're south and they're north. I think it's just topography. But we're understanding that, look, it's clearing here in Los Angeles. See? I told you. Positive thinking.
Oh.
They knew I was going to ride my bike more. But one of the things about the Bike Smut scene, if we could quote it, they were out at this event, and I think they were touting more about the idea that people were coming out than they were that people were coming out wearing rubber and stuff. And I said, well, it is raining. There's a certain amount of like logic to wearing, slickers or leather or something. I don't think it has anything to do with sex. And they said it could be a style thing. So we were having this kind of discussion.
I'm sorry, what now?
Well, I mean, if you go out there with a thick sweater and it gets soaked, you're kind of dragging around thick, wet sweaters. Whereas if you go with slickers and rubber and vinyl, the rain tends to roll off.
So how does that tie into Bike Smut?
Well, they're looking. There's certain parts of the community that look at, let's just say, vinyl and leather and things like that. Pleather, I guess, is being sort of tied into
bike porn.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, we're going to skip ahead now and get to the more issues.
I have no more. Okay, first of all, maybe you can tell me how to navigate Midnight Riders to get the best events. Is there like an event?
On the whole side here for Midnight Riders, this is for people. There's a thing up here. Go back. It says calendar. Why don't we just click on the calendar?
Okay.
And on the side here, you'll see all the rides. And you see the Monday night rehab. That's a ride that's coming up. But you're going to get your Monday night rehab twice or 3 times this week because last night they showed it. The film about what they do to get rehab going. It was almost like a day in the life, and then tonight they're going to show it. And then on Monday is the real rehab, so you'll be all ready for it to know what to expect.
You'll see the video, you'll see the movie.
And let's just say one more time, DDK is all over that too.
Okay, now DDK is a person.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and get her in here. We joke about, a couple weeks ago she was getting her hair trimmed at one of these Sharecuts thing, and I said, "Hey, I got to get a lock of your hair. I'm going to sell it on eBay." And she goes, "Oh no, that's just kinky." And I said, "No, that's what they do. I mean, you can get online and buy people's hair and things. I think we're going to put it up. I think virgining kind of starlet in the bike scene. I think we're going to ask what's a good asking price for a lock of hair because it's not just a lock of hair." There's genetic material in there that could be used, yes. Let's just say...
to clone her.
Well, we could. We're not going to go there, but I'm sure there's guys that they heard this. They're thinking about it. They've got their little chemistry set out. They're working on it. They're re-registering for school.
Do you think that'll be a thing where you can clone your own?
I don't think it's so much.
But then you have to wait for them to grow up.
Well, see, you're looking at it as like on a small scale, a big scale of like old bodies or whole human beings. I'm looking at it on a cellular scale. All you need to do is alter certain gene patterns in your own DNA. Maybe take some dormant ones. Increase that way. Maybe
okay. I've just let us get off track, and I'm just trying to
No. This is part of the calendar. This is part of the calendar. Just imagine that instead of me sort of whining about this coaster break, that every year, a couple weeks before, I was to genetically alter my DNA with maybe raptor DNA or something, for the legs or something, and lo and behold, well, they're more sprint guys. I'd probably want, some other things, and maybe some of that, maybe to breathe better, some dolphin DNA for the lungs or whatever. And it's all there in the gene sequence. You just would have to sort of activate it here or do it there.
No, I do
and
think we're straying.
like
We're
it's
straying
really
from
strange.
the calendar. We're straying from the calendar.
I'm doing this,
I
but
feel we should get back to it.
these are all techniques. I wonder if in the future people will be talking about. I mean, we've already seen this. They're not talking about.
So you're
juicing.
defending your stray from.
Well,
the calendar.
no, they're not. When people race, they used to talk about using, doping with all these different drugs and maybe whole blood and all this other stuff. I think in the future, it's going to be indetectable because we'll be using genetically engineered markers and stuff to actually bring
I get
up.
what you're saying. I do get what you're saying.
So it's like you're going to go, wow, he's really great. And it was like, yeah, it's everything in his own DNA to get to this stage. But is that really going to be fair to somebody that just trains hard and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, the calendar, 3 times rehab, 3 times the lady this week. Okay, what else is going on? Why, look at this. The Coaster Break Challenge number 4. Let's just see what it is.
Click.
We're clicking, and this is on Midnight Riders, and it says a meet point, 7 a.m. bitches. So he knows who's.
They're
this
bitches.
gets back to porn almost. The bike smut. He's calling us a bitch or something. And
He knows he can talk.
Yeah, he knows
that
he
way.
can talk dirty to you, and you better enjoy it. Yeah, they're meeting in Chatsworth of all places. And what's it say?
18100 Chatsworth Street, number E.
Easy for the most start, single tack and what is it? Small technical bits, small climb.
What does barfathon
places to
mean?
fall down. What?
It's 'cause it says barfathon.
Yeah, the last time we did this race, somebody, let's just say, lost his cookies because they were really trying hard. So I guess that's where it's at. And of course,
You have to knock a can off a table with a slingshot each lap.
how many laps? 8?
10 laps.
Oh my God! So maybe that's why I brought a. We're gonna try it here in the studio. I brought a slingshot here.
Did you?
Yeah,
Why?
because I got to practice. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I don't think there's any animal out there that can shoot yet. Though I've heard tale of
Oh, okay. You're getting
Amphibians.
into the speculative, and we're trying to
amphibians that
stick
can
to the
use their
calendar.
tongue to actually
Just trying to stick to
knock-
the calendar.
knock things. So we're going to stick to the calendar again. Okay. Other things down. There's some little ride on Monday. What do they call that thing?
Monday Night Grind?
No. It's not there, but I'm sure there's going to be a
You don't want to say
well, it's in the film. We were talking about the film. Come on.
Monday Night Rehab?
Wolfpack Hustle.
Oh.
They always start that one out at Tang's and work their way up. It's really funny because
Is that
I was in
Monday?
there. I was in there once when it wasn't a Monday, and the woman behind the counter goes, "Oh, we haven't seen you on Monday nights." And I go, "Well, I kind of open up my Biketalk," and then she was going, "Oh, I'm talking to the girl over there with the tags," and it was like, "Oh, right." She said she was getting over a cold. So even the best of us have to sort of nurse our bodies back to health.
Oh, okay.
I know that once I do these things, I'm sort of dead meat for the next day or two.
Huh.
It really is hard sometimes on your body.
All right.
But then again, I go out and open up the bike oven for volunteers. All right, keep going.
Well, you want me to go scroll down? We were all the way through
we
Friday.
can scroll out. And then the idea with Midnight Riders is it's always in the advance. There's nothing past, so you can check it out.
Okay.
There's even things for this.
Is this
Monday?
the-
There's the criminal mass, which is the police critical mass, and then there's some people that are starting the People's Ride again, and also there's a couple other rides. Let's not forget that in a couple weeks is the Chinese New Year coming up this weekend. Or a week from this.
Oh, wow.
And they'll be having a ride for that. And then, of course, there is the firecracker ride that's coinciding with the Chinese New Year. The year of,
Oh, yeah. What year?
well, this is in the future. It's the year of the dragon.
No!
Yes. Wow. This would be the point where we put Kung Fu fighting on.
Oh, that would be cool.
But somebody stole it out of our archives. They liked it so much. Isn't that great?
That's weird.
I think we have it here. There's this thing called the internet. We probably
You would
could
think they would
tune
just
in.
copy it.
Yeah, you think they'd copy it. Anyway, all the rides. If you are new to Los Angeles, you can see this. And apparently, coming up in March, coinciding on 3/18, is the Wolfpack Hustle. But because we love you,
The marathon crash race.
the Marathon Crash Race, we're going to play a little bit of it Crash Race right now.
Okay. But
It is Kill
it's
Radio. We're just 2
music.
seconds because they talk about riding in the rain too. Okay. It's all about riding in the rain, even though it's cleared right now. Where is it? All right. It should be there. Here, hold on.
Okay.
I'd fuck him. Let's train him.
People are enjoying beautiful slumber, dreaming their life away, catching up on rest, especially on a Sunday morning. You forget about yourself and you become about the event.
I set my alarm for 2:30 in the morning and woke up at 2:30 and just rode to Tangs from my house.
It is a very primal yet highly intellectual battle between you and other humans.
Basically, it's called the crash race because they crashed the marathon course for LA Marathon, which starts at 7 a.m. So we actually have to group up and race at 4 a.m. before the runners.
This is your only chance, really, of doing 26 miles of LA streets with no traffic, no cars on the course. You might have to get up at 4 in the morning, but you're going to have a good time.
The guy who runs Wolfpack is Roadblock. That tall guy with the hair over there, Mr. Wolfpack Hustle himself.
When they talk about LA and how big and spread out it is, and it's not cycling friendly because of that, we decided to take that and make it our advantage.
Wolfpack Hustle is essentially the top of the food chain when it comes to underground racing. To be totally honest, I value the dog tags that I've won with as much enthusiasm as the state championship titles that I've won in standard USA cycling.
There's a lot of street credit to go around if you get a dog tag.
Herman gave me a call and said, we just crashed the course. It's not going to be any traffic. Let's just do this Wolfpack Marathon crash race. Tearing through the streets at night. It's completely illegal. It's completely dangerous. There is no real logic to it. Last year, 400 people showed up. What the fuck? Didn't expect this many people. Where's her name? I see her.
It's so big that other people come from other states just to participate.
On the one hand, it's awesome that people are coming from out of state to do this race, but on the other hand, the dog tags should not leave LA. At the end of the day, there's only one person that crossed the line first last year, and that's me. And I'm going to put the wood to anyone who comes out and dares challenge me tonight.
And then I look outside the window, and it's pouring rain. I checked the weather. It says rain, and I said, man, I don't know if I want a piece of that. I don't know if I want to be eating it on the turns with 20 bites piling up on my head. I hear a whole bunch of hollering outside the window. I said, what the hell is going on? And I look, and it's everybody on bikes. Everybody showed up. 300 people going by my window. So I have to throw on my bike outfit as fast as I can. I can't miss it.
Yeah, they're right there.
boss case, and I'm 19 years old. I showed up late for the beginning of the Wolfpack race, and I knew that if the first group got away, there was no catching them. Didn't even have enough time to put my jacket away, so I had to throw it onto the ground. During the first hills, I made some major attacks. I actually made the breakaway in the beginning of the race. The group consisted of 6 people. It was me, John, Fritz, and we were all riding road bikes. And then I look around and I noticed there's 3 other fixed gears. It hit me that I didn't know any of them at all.
Once we were able to sprint, I basically wanted to sprint and keep up and just go as fast as I could and just break away. I was passing some guys, and then I was drafting off other guys. There were no girls in my radius.
I find it so invigorating. It fills me with energy that allows me to just tear the streets and go on a rampage like in a way that I don't normally do in a typical, sanctioned race.
We just kept pulling, taking turns, and then we tried to make the gap between the first group and the second group bigger.
Let me hear stand.
So coming down San Vicente actually was like the main last big part. And we were flying really, really going fast. And then after that, it was the upcoming sprint. I saw John get behind the wheel of someone, and I knew he was just going to set himself up for the sprint at the end.
Look out, here we go.
Okay, so a lot of that is just sort of images and visuals, and you can't really get it through the radio. So I will just say that it was a great movie, right?
Yeah, very well received, actually, and we sort of touched on the fact that the community came out and really supported it. It's a local film, let's be honest, but it's had some worldwide ramifications now because it is in the Bicycle Film Festival. It travels to all these different countries. And just to touch on it further, what was playing there earlier before that is The Artist, that silent movie film that we everybody kind of said you had to have somebody from France show us that Los Angeles is still the mecca of cinema.
Okay, what?
Because
there was a silent movie?
The Artist. You've heard about The Artist? It's nominated for an Academy Award. The Academy Awards are the things they do every year here in Los Angeles, coming up on the last weekend of February.
The Artist was just part of a whole barrage of verbiage, and I didn't know that was the name of a movie.
It is. You thought I was referring to you as being The Artist. But
I didn't know who you were referring to.
There's a black and white movie out there. It's French, but it's about early cinema, and it's done in a silence. And if you told somebody this, they would look at you and say you're crazy. But apparently it won the Golden Globe, which is an award season.
Wow, it's all black.
But the award season is coming up here in Los Angeles, and we decided that there's a lot of people out there, aspiring filmmakers that listen in. Some of them ride bikes. We saw a few of them last night. And one of the questions that I put to people, and hopefully we'll have more on it next week, is I said, hey, what would you like to see in a bike film? And while it's just like, and I'll dare say, just like Bike Smut, that certain things float different people's boats out there, whether it be, dressing up in rubber and riding to work, or your rain slicker and getting to your job safely.
Just in that way.
I would say that there are a couple other things that other people would find it just as invigorating to have a safe trip to work with no frills, no guns.
Okay, we're talking about what they'd like to see in bike movies.
I'm just talking about people in general. There's all sorts of different types that might get more turned on by a green bike lane. Let's just say
Okay,
then.
but okay, the things that people you were saying want to see in bike movies.
Right. What do you think is essential? We're going to go down a list just here in front of you in the next 5 minutes or so. What are essential things to a bike film? I think they refer to all of cinema. So the first thing.
Well, look at
in cinema,
the famous bike films.
Okay, famous bike films.
Like there's Rad, Quicksilver. Mm-hmm. What else? Breaking Away. Was that a bike
You're
movie?
talking about, films where I think Rad is a little bit different. There is a race in there because there's always a race in a bike film,
there
right?
You go. So we've got the first one, I think.
The first one is there always has to be a race
So
in a
like
film.
that's number one.
I think it goes back and it harkens back to early cinema where there was the chase. The idea is the chase. So you had to have a chase, either as a climax.
Okay, so you could say that like that mainstream cinema is like basically about the car then.
Yeah, well,
there's
a
always
lot of it is, but in a bike film, it would be about the bike.
Right.
See, okay, so the other thing is you can't just have the bike sit there. Of course, in some cases, it does sit there. Yeah, it has to actually propel itself. So somebody's got to drive the car or the vehicle.
So there's got to be a person. It can't just be a bike without.
If this was a car film, you'd have to have the road warrior or
there
the
was
slick guy or Drivey said or something like that.
What?
The Ryan Gossip or Gosling.
All right, I don't know what you're talking about now.
He's a star that's in this thing called Driven.
Oh.
That's also nominated for Academy Award.
And I was going to say there's Christine, and that wasn't really.
Christine is more of a horror film, but you've entered into the next thing. It's a genre. So these are genre films. Genre films meaning that they're a certain kind of epoch or style, or in this case, they all have one central theme. This one being it has a bicycle in it. But there are other different things like horror genre, like you talked about.
Is bike
it's a car film, obviously, Christine, but it has horror film in it.
Is bike a genre?
I would argue that I think it transcends a little more of the genre. I would think that there's the certain bike films sort of pay homage to certain genres. Like last night, I love bikes with DDK, who we talked about a minute ago. It's more of a love story, I would say. She loves her bike.
No, but there's definitely genres within bikes. I don't remember ever seeing a horror bike.
Oh, that's not true. There's a famous one out there that they did a couple years ago, where it was all claymation with bicycles. The bike kind of morphed into like almost like a horror bike that kind of.
So we've got horror, we've got romance. Is there a thriller bike movie that you can remember?
Well, dare I say, there's some elements of Wise Guy and thriller that are in Breaking Away. Everybody remembers the two race scenes. One where they start racing in Los Angeles. Next thing you know, they're up on a hill in San Francisco, and by the end of it, they're in downtown Los Angeles again. So that race. Wow, they did some 400 miles. But I'm just kidding. They go all over.
So
There's some in New York
with
too.
The genres. We were saying the things that have to be in any bike movie.
We
started off with there's a race.
Chase or race. There's a machine.
Are those two things?
Yeah.
There's a chase and a race.
There can be a chase, but then there's a race. In Breaking Away, there's a race they do.
I'm going to write these
him
down.
And Lawrence Fishburne or Larry. You don't call him Larry. He's Lawrence.
We're gonna
and
add these
then there's also
this is going to be the
chase at the end where
we'll
I guess the antagonist
movie.
or protagonist in this is doing. He's actually trying to catch him, and he's trying to just bring him down at the end because he's evil. Good against evil. That's always a great theme that you see in these things. In this case,
but are you
evil being the car.
Are you saying that that's
and good being Kevin Bacon on his bike running around downtown LA near Toe.
Are you saying that is an element in every bike movie is the good and evil? Because it could be.
I think it is.
Okay, so we're going to
good and evil. Even the film last night. The good was you got the girl, and the bad was she got her bike stolen. Even though she locked it well, I think we could all relate to the fact that looked like a really good.
You cannot stop talking about that DD
No, I can't stop talking about the fact that she lost her bike. Everybody's lost their bike, and that was one of the other themes that I think is universal.
On that
I think it's universal, the fact that everybody can lock their bike up and get it
You can
stolen.
try to pretend that it's about.
No, I'm not.
That whole
talked
theater
to her
had a crush on that
weeks ago about this whole thing. We joked even about, like, now that she's a star, we're going to be following her.
All right.
I said, you have to tweet things.
What's her name again?
And tell us stupid things you're doing. DDK. I think that's there's probably more letters and more alphabets. I'm sure you can. The film itself is showing up Midnight Riders, and that's what we're leading up to. Okay, so the next
we got
thing.
3 things: Chase, Race, Good and Evil. What else is one of the
essentials
of
to a good
movie.
bike film? I think a good story, beginning, middle, and end.
You can't say good story, can you? I mean, isn't that?
I think you can. A lot of these things are just kids doing tricks, and there's nothing really there, which is good. I mean, you can see the beginning, the middle, and the end of it, and they sort of tie it together with music and the beginning of the song, the end of the song. There was a couple of films last night that I would argue it was great to see them sort of choreograph the music, but it was the same. What do they call that? The one with the whistling. And then there was also the Magnetic Zeros, whatever his name is there. Home. So they're equating with certain themes that transcend just the biking experience. That go back into almost a primordial kind of. Where they talked about in this, a primordial kind of mindset. So whereas they're transcending just.
You're getting primordial.
No. What I'm trying to say is that they're themes, universal themes that transcend just biking that they're trying to equate.
What does
the movie
primordial
with.
mean again? Like the first.
That would be like the beginning, or
like the
going
before
back
there was any form.
Before there was life, before there was, just
before
the elements.
Before there was any shape.
Yeah.
Any form.
The elements.
Okay.
Yes.
So. What did we just ask?
The soup of what existence is. And if you look to the soup here in Los Angeles of bike culture, I think you'd have to look at certain sort of endemic kind of, let's just say, events.
All right,
one of them being Bike Summer here, which really influenced a lot of people to get into the scene.
Can you stick to the...
But we're going to get back to, right now, the things that make an essential thing.
Is there anything else?
Beginning, middle, and end. So it's structure. Structure like everything.
Right.
And I think one of the things is, while there have been bike films with, let's just say, not bad endings, but sad endings. I'm reminded of The Bicycle Thief of everything. People always go, "Oh, don't you love that? The DeSica film?" And I look at it and
Bicycle Thief. I didn't think.
I look at this and I go, "Oh God!" See, this is where that film sort of touches that thing. The idea that bicycles getting stolen. They transcend this. DeSica's classic, while it is a classic and everything in the open cinema of the Italian. Influence in this, I'd have to argue that it's such a depressing film.
The Bicycle Thief?
Oh, because it ends badly. He gets caught and everything. It'd be nice if there was some, and I know people are going to argue with this, happy ending. Maybe I've lived too long in Koreatown to not know that the happy ending is what you pay extra for here. But I would argue that the happy ending always gets your, God. As we're talking here, the whole environment is morphing here.
Yeah.
It has become a beautiful day, and as anybody knows,
kind of like
the sky is breaking through. The sun is making. We're talking about good things.
The clouds
and now
are lit up.
The environment, the elements are joining in. They're joining in with
chicken leather,
with our bike talk. See, if you talk about good things, they happen.
I need to know where you're at in our list of essential.
Okay, so we got to the idea of a happy ending.
Are we, happy ending? You're saying it has to happen?
I just mentioned it, and you looked at me like I was trying to.
Why would it have to
try to pass you $5 and talk about bike smut or something? But
why would it have to have a happy ending?
I don't think it has to, but I think you get to write your own ending on a bike regardless. I mean, if you rode to the, we joke about this sometimes that. I've been to parties sometimes, and I talk to a lot of people, and they say the best part of this party was the ride on my bicycle to it and the ride home. Sometimes I know last night the party was incredible.
Yeah, really?
It was the after party was incredible at some undisclosed location on Sunset that opened up for us to make us food. But then the police decided that we were having too much fun in the middle of the night, sort of persuaded us to leave now, unless they were going to incarcerate us, which is kind of sad.
Let me ask you a question. What makes a good after party, a good bike after party? What makes it incredible?
Well, shall we finish with the film first and then go to the after party?
After party list.
See, because now you're getting into the trap of something that's going on right now. Sundance is going on now, and when it started, it was all about workshops and getting kids and looking at film and communicating all these themes or elements that we've talked about what goes to make good film. And yet it has become now more of the business of the sell, the art behind the business, the art behind, you have to get this into these many theaters and you have to get a Weinstein behind it because he's money. God. And they joke about it.
Right, we're getting a little far off from the elements that make a good
movie. But you could even argue whether and this gets to the final thing, if your actresses or actors in this thing are really just acting, or if they're really dedicated to, is it a documentary and they're dedicated to cycling in this way? So I would think that one of the elements is, and this gets back to my own personal thing, how true are you being to your audience by getting this thing out? So it's almost like a level of honesty as a filmmaker, and I always discuss it with these people. Now, this might be the what we would call honesty. The extra credit.
So honesty?
The extra credit on this thing. I would think, if not honesty in storytelling, honesty in depicting your characters in this. We joke about it with Hitchcock about there's so many fantastic things that happen in North by Northwest or something. Is that really plausible? There's plausibility, and Truffaut used to talk about it. He talks about it in Hitchcock on Truffaut, or Truffaut on Hitchcock, where he goes, none of this is plausible in half your film. And he goes, well, there's that cinematic liberty that you can take sometimes if it's all going the right way. You sort of give it the idea that it's a movie, it's not real life, and things have to fail. So you see people like being able to scale like
all right, where are you going?
The Statue of Liberty, or Mount Rushmore or something, and there you've not only depicted them sort of meeting the bad guy at the last thing and saving the world.
But I mean, so what I'm hearing from
which
you
is just this is how, and I'm going to just touch on this. This is every spy film. Basically every spy film is just a really poor imitation sometimes of, or maybe in your case, a good imitation of North by Northwest, which was a Hitchcock.
So I think, can I just repeat back to you what I thought I heard?
So it's plausibility and honesty about who these people are. I know in some place and we'll go back to the classic ones.
Okay. But I wanted to repeat back to you what I thought I heard.
Well, go ahead.
So I think I hear you saying that it's like honesty is relative.
I think it's relative to one extent if you're making a film. In another extent, it has to be truthful if you're making the documentary. And a lot of times, this is the quotient of like, do you use footage just to extend that isn't truthful? Do you manipulate it or edit it so as you're getting a different quotient? And this is the argument that a lot of documentaries work with, the idea that it's like, you've cut them to say this certain thing. You've taken the sound bites just to do this. But in some cases, I think that a lot of what we do needs to be almost an educational point of view with...
oh, my God. Chicken leather.
What?
What is the item here that we are adding to the list?
Well, the vicissitude of how we're addressing this and being honest not only to yourself as a filmmaker, but to your subject. And while a lot of bike films don't deal with this, I think a lot of them now are touching... cases. There was that idea of like, how do you make a writer better? And they had all the steps for making a writer better. As we interpret this to make a film better, I think you have to be honest not only to yourself and what the bike scene is becoming, but you have to illuminate something that's going to be educational and also truthful to the bike scene. And so I would say that we talk about honesty, but I think we also talk about how filmmaking is going to propel this to the next level.
Okay, so here's what I got. Educational and truthful to the bike scene.
Right.
Good. That's
okay, so that being said, there's a lot of leeway there with the idea that most of these films, with all these elements in it, they use certain elements and they still work ahead. I think what we're seeing now is the breakout or what we more of what we would call a destructionist theory of filmmaking. We haven't gotten to a stage in bike films that they have in the real world with some of the Van Tier's films and stuff where it's almost like a dogma with bike films. But what we're seeing right now is almost like a fringe, almost satiated lewd element or in some cases fetish element with films. You're seeing the bike trick film, the music on top of footage film that is every young 17 trick writer's fantasy just to watch trick after trick or everything. Is that going to help me being
So you're not
middle-aged
seeing
and
real-
wanting to see more infrastructure
you're-
films
you're-
or something? Go ahead.
So you're not.
I don't think I have the same kind of taste as teenagers anymore.
So you're not seeing a real, real movie in the sense you're not seeing like a art movie, like a dogma movie about bikes.
I'm seeing elements, but I'm not seeing it yet. Perhaps that'll be the next one. I'm also seeing a lot more. I
would that
haven't
be?
seen the breakout bike film that really. I'd love. They talk about remaking a lot of times, and I hate this word, remaking. Things like Quicksilver or things like Breaking Away, and I've always thought as another road rider makes his way across Los Angeles. See, there's another bike rider. I think that the next phase would be to touch things that are universal in cinema. I think that's the reason that something like Breaking Away, it had some real things. They were addressing the economy. The car breaks down. He's still riding his bike. His dad works at a used car salesman. So it's like, do you trust the used car salesman? For a long time, it was almost. I talked about to people, and they were saying, this is almost like a depiction of America. The idea that he's doing 55 and you're pulling the truck over, is this our economy? And then there was the idea that the cars are breaking down, and yet he's riding a bike, an Italian bike, and he's doing all these wonderful things, but then the Italians screw him at the end. I mean, you can read in all these different things, the different elements that we're depicting, whatever, and then at the end, who's going to save him? Well, he meets a girl, he gets love, boy meets girl. It's a love story in that sense.
So
But is it boy meets girl, or is it boy meets bike? So that could be the argument about being
why
truthful.
Would it be boy meets bike?
Boy meets bike. He had this great Italian bike, and he gives it up, and he goes back to real racing. He goes back to a Bridgestone and enters the little Indy 500 and races the bike. In fact, at the end, it's almost he becomes the bike. They tape his feet to the bike, and he's morphed into something that's even more than bike. But anyway, that's what you're seeing.
And that was quick.
That was Breaking Away. But if you were going to redo it today, I mean, I think we're primed for another remake. They were talking about maybe it's not just a remake, but it's like there's always the two things you can do. You could do, and this is why Los Angeles or Hollywood in particular is really sort of locked into this formula kind of thing. It's like, are you going to make a prequel or a sequel? Are you going to continue on with this? I mean, in 2011, they were all sequels and prequels. You could go down the list of, Ghost Protocol with Mission Impossible. You could go all these things, but it's like
you work in the movie business, right?
Yeah. I've been involved with making movies here, which is a little bit different from
Are you not a
cinema? I am. You say this like the door is going to be shut and the cops are going to come in, and it's like the Abu Ghraib. Yes, you've been associated with the film industry in Los Angeles. Yes, I have, Senator.
Do you have a guilty conscience
regarding movies in Los Angeles right now? I think I have more of a guilty kind of agenda that I like to see films made in Los Angeles only because of the economy. I mean, Los Angeles, let's be honest, would not be Los Angeles if it wasn't for Hollywood and the movies here. We would just be some last sort of milk run kind of city that, the bus stops here on Tuesday and this is what gets delivered. But I think we've also fallen into our own trap of being sort of, and it's good in some cases. I love to take foreigners here on bicycle rides through Hollywood. And in fact, that's a great way to see Los Angeles on a bicycle. You're open to the environment, and especially in certain places, you see more than being in a little tour bus and sort of being told what to see, as opposed to being out there and just sort of taking it all in. That's why I think the bike is more efficient, and this gets back to the idea that you get
Okay.
a third more. But films in Los Angeles. Go ahead, finish your thoughts.
Let's talk about. Let's be transparent and talk about future shows and upcoming shows that we're going to do.
Right.
Because I mean, if we're going to talk about movies and
well, it is movie season, and that's the reason.
Is it movie season?
Yeah, this is the Academy Awards season. Like I said, it's coming up on the 26th.
Wow.
And in fact, out at the Bike Oven, we've had, this will be our second, or is it third annual, that's right, Oscar night, where we mix in bicycle films with Oscars. And it's just one big orgy of cycling. In fact, I think this year we're going to extend it to another level. And that's what it comes down to.
Right, so here's what I'm saying. We next time
try to interact the public a little bit more, so we get you off. And in fact, that was one of the good things I saw at the bike. I want to say bike porn, but the bike smut last week was first of all, they changed their name. Second of all, they got people, and if you wanted to vote on what you wanted to see, you had to. I think it was picked like, well, what are you going to do? Are we going to yell? Are we going to bash?
So
no, they had to get up and it was a dance off.
Good
to decide.
ideas here. Okay, so interact the public, vote on what they want to see. I think these are elements that we should incorporate into our future shows.
It's almost like the Occupied of biking.
Yeah, so we've got to occupy the Kill Radio studio. I want it to not be so much just like us talking about like shooting the breeze and like have calls.
Maybe we should do this off the air, but I think what we're trying to do is engage the public a little more. One of the last things is it's not so much as being, and I think everybody at bicycling already knows this, that it's not us talking about bikes that really gets people involved in bikes. It's people that have experienced bicycling, or in this case, want to enrich people with that same sort of curiosity they had, whether it be Christmas morning and they see their first bicycle, to you made it to the corner without your training wheels. That we want to get those new feelings, or your first little cross country race that you finished and you didn't come in DFL. You weren't the dead last person. Or it can go to the next level. You're on your bike on an art ride, and you and your girlfriend experience art on the art ride that you've never seen before, that you never see. And the only reason you did this is because you got to go out with a bunch of people and enjoy art.
So if we're talking about...
And you were safe doing
an art ride, for example, we bring in artists, we bring in people who are on the ride.
Yeah, or we can talk about
show,
it.
So it's not just us talking.
See, that's the other thing that happened this week that we only touch on, but there's still Pacific Standard Time here, which is an art kind of thing that's happening all in Los Angeles. But every second Saturday of the month, the Bike Oven / Flying Pigeon still have their art nights, which sort of address themselves to satiating the fact that we're not just gearheads. We actually have in making the man, or the Renaissance man, that he has a conscience, or in this place another depth or a level to him. This one that's not just filled with gum chewing and fast foods, but maybe some art and the finer things of life.
Sounds good.
A little of the bubbly, so to speak.
So, but next time I want to have guests.
Yeah.
And I want to have phone calls.
Okay. Is this your agenda?
Huh? That's my agenda.
All right, Los Angeles. All right, World Wide Web. We want to see some phone calls there. Light up that board. Yes.
But you can't do it like you have to with Kill Radio.
Let's just be honest.
You can't just ask people to call and they call.
It's
raining. You have to call them in advance and say.
People sleeping in last night from this.
We can't make excuses for our listeners.
We can. I can make excuses.
Our should be
listeners listen. Well, it's really hard. Drive time a lot. Let's be honest. A lot of people do listen on the podcast.
Yeah.
On KPFK here, which is really great. But I ran into some KPFK let's just say boosters, and they said, "Oh my God, you're the guys that do the Bike Talk," and they were like, "No," and they go, "Yeah, oh, I meant to hear more of those," and I said, "Well, we mean to make more of those." So.
Well, let's make the shows that people don't just mean to listen to. It's sort of like eating your vegetables. Listening to Bike Talk.
We're gonna probably do some things, and with that being said, we're gonna go back through our archives and dig out more things that are geared towards this. So if we talk about something, we'll have some pointers from the past or past guests. You don't like that?
Get archives of our own shows.
No, but I'm talking before I did them here on the station or podcast them. There's lots of
Here's
stuff.
what I want to do. I want to get real people from the world to come into the studio or to call.
I don't think we can handle that. We can't handle that truth. But
we're gonna open ourselves up and just be bombarded.
No,
with reality.
this sounds too much like therapy here.
That's right.
I do have my bike doctor. Yes. Or maybe it's like, yes, I am a bike rider. Hello, Nick. Yes, okay, Nick. How did you do this week? I mean, there wasn't a 12-step program, but they did have 12 steps of what it came to be a bike rider.
Anonymous.
And it was kind of funny because they so mimicked the 12-step program that's really good for alcoholics, but I don't think there is any cure for bike riding.
Do you have that one?
I don't. That just happened last night. We haven't had time to digitize it.
Can you please get that?
We're going to talk to Rick about maybe getting a copy.
It was the 12 steps to...
You like that. That was the thing he rushed out of here and shot last week. So literally it's...
Okay, so next week...
less than a week old.
What's our topic going to be next week?
Well...
How about bike art? There's so much bike art.
We could, but we should do that when it equates to
spoken art.
The spoken art, which is in 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah, but then they'll have
we
the
could
show
talk
will be
about
art, and then we'll say then the podcast audience will have a chance to be told about the spoken art. Right?
But we just told about it. There's 2 other guys going up the road
so
here. 3 other guys going up the road here. So as the sun comes out, we're seeing more bike riders on there. Okay, so he wants to do art. I'm thinking because it is the first of the week of the month, and we'll have a day before going on the fun ride that LACBC usually does. Maybe we could talk not only about that, but we could also talk about some of the issues that are
issues, as my friend
issues that are rearing their head in the next weeks to come that you too can get involved in your community.
Okay,
I know last week they had the Glendale bike plan got reviewed. I think on Wednesday night.
Great. Well,
and then a lot of it is not so much just being along for the ride, so to speak, but actually involving you.
Yeah, the LACBC Regional Partnerships meeting is this Wednesday, so we can basically, spring off that and try to
spring forward. Yeah. And one of the things is right before all the big bike races come out, the Vuelta and the rest of them, the Tour de France and all the Italian ones, the Giro. There's little one-day races and stuff, and you're saying, why are you talking about racing that way? Well, I think it's the same thing with infrastructure and things. There's been one-day summits. There was the California Bike Summit that I think really engaged a lot of people on another level to actually view their city as an alternative to biking. And as I'm saying this, they're still on the road. As we wrap up the show, they're still on the road or still on the books. Things like high-speed rail, they're going to put all this money into it, and yet it's infinitesimal how much money they put into biking. And I know they're trying to like close down the budget and stuff, but look, there's also almost a premium that happens when you do embrace bike culture and stuff. When you do embrace some of the things that, especially with infrastructure, that not only improve it for the bicycle, but also for people that aren't on bikes, people that are doing some stuff. And I think we should examine things like the new Expo line that's supposed to be coming in 2012 that they finally have got. And I don't know how long ago it was on that bike to work day or whatever that we went on that route with the Expo. It's actually going to come, and it's actually might be easier to take your bike on these
That's going to be so great.
Other transfer things.
And you can take the Expo line. You can take the Expo line to the beginning of the Ballona Creek bike path.
There you go,
and then ride to the beach. Wow. So, but this is it. This is the end of the show. So next week,
end of the show.
LACBC type issues, Expo line. What do you call that? Like urban issues in like policy?
I like to look at it as almost like the urban cross. What is it? Cross training. Yeah. But you're not really training for anything except to get from point A to B.
All right. Well, whatever it's
Transit
called.
is a sport.
Transit.
I think we have to morph that. It's like we only see people like sports
Next week
icons
is
endorse.
the
Why can't they endorse somebody that's just going from work every day?
Transportation, bicycle transportation, urban policy as a sport next week.
Right. That bike scene, it's out there for you. Join in. You gonna ride your bike today? Ride your bike.